interviewing top talent in movies, television, sports, and music, leaders, entrepreneurs, and experts. Broadcast in over 30 countries out of New York, Manchester, Los Angeles. As a mentor, life and career coach, I help others, athletes, actors, and people of all walks of life, solve the problems they face by introducing balance and routines that would otherwise leave them stuck and overthinking, paralyzed, unable to reach their goals. They look for engaging, rewarding lives, and I think they deserve that. Today, I invite you to join me on my radio show to learn from my guests and I how you can be more resilient and strong. I empower people who struggle with confusion or feel stuck in soulless, non-fulfilling situations. I help them find calm and claim their authentic self in their career path or personal life so they can live to their fullest potential. As a motivational speaker for businesses, schools, resorts, and communities, I speak on topics of achieving success and living a mentally healthy lifestyle, featuring topics from my Power My Life program within my revolutionary Impact, Influence, and Income Academy. I inspire the world as a radio journalist, author, life coach, career coach, resilience expert, mental health advocate, and most recently as a society writer for Transatlantic Today magazine. So happy that you joined me. Let's get rolling. You don't just have to go through it, you can grow through it. Good morning, and thank you for joining Resilient You with Alicia Pozsony. On our show, we have guests that talk about topics of resiliency, and I'm pleased to introduce top talent in movies, television, sports, music, leaders, entrepreneurs, experts. And today I have a band. They are called Copper Lungs. They're Scottish indie rock group, and they have a new single that's coming up. But I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves. So Jamie and Darren, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We love to bridge the waters, as they say, right? I'm located in New Jersey, near New York, and I know you guys are hailing from Dundee, Scotland. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Dundee.
essentially. We're sort of...
Yeah, like across like Dundee, Perth, but it's like Dundee's our kind of central hub, shall we say, where we kind of get together.
Nice. So speaking of getting together, what you guys were together a while ago, and lately you've teamed up once again, and I think that's something that speaks to resiliency. That was the first thing I thought when I learned about you guys. Why don't you tell our listeners your story? Tell us about Copper Lungs.
Yeah, I mean, I joined the band back in 2012, maybe. Myself and Darren, we were in college together, and yeah, he would start his new project, let me hear some of the songs he'd recorded, and I was just really into it. So I was like, right, okay, let's do this. So, we built up quite a nice fan base. We did quite a few of the festivals, we toured, and then, I think life just got in the way. I had a couple of kids, and Darren wanted to go on and do some studying because he wants to be a teacher and stuff. So, life got in the way, and I think, to be honest, I think the deciding factor of it, and I know you'll probably hear this a lot, and it's probably used a lot, but I think COVID really showed us that we'd missed so much, and we sort of reconnected throughout COVID. We had a few conversations. We'd probably had a couple of drinks in the house and then ended up on Facebook talking to each other. And then when we could get back together, it was just like, do you know what? We missed this. Let's get in the room. Let's see how it goes. And, we had a couple of jams, and it just felt right again. So yeah, it was from there. It's been all go. Been a couple of lineup changes since then, but we've got this really nice bass unit now that's working so well, and we're really enjoying playing music again. So it's just been.
Ah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's a great story. It's inspiring because I know, and my husband is a musician, so he was in a band at the time, and the band was like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do now? Because they couldn't rehearse together. They couldn't go out and play shows, and I'm not a musician. I'm not, I enjoy music and I use it for an emotional tool for my clients as a mentor, but not actually being able to play and do that, like when that's taken from you, that's huge. So it's really great to hear that COVID actually brought you together instead of in many cases where the bands couldn't perform and couldn't do what they normally would. So I read a quote. I love it. It was I think, Jamie, you had said it, when we got in the room it felt like we had come home.
Yeah.
So, so that's amazing. So here we are. You have a new single called Waiting for You.
Yeah.
Darren, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so obviously when we came back together, we had quite a bit of fairly, I wouldn't say massive success, but like we did well in Scotland and we did tour the UK. But coming back, we were like, we're a wee bit older now. We've lived through a lot more life experiences. So we wanted to maybe evolve the band. We didn't just want to come back and be like, let's just do exactly what we did before. It was, we've maybe got slightly new musical tastes. I definitely had a lot of personal things to speak about that I kind of said. That was from the get-go with Jamie. It was like, I want these new songs to be, just raw, really real, so that people could connect with them. So it was kind of like, what can we do to stay true to who we are in the band, but evolve the band? So that was kind of the first journey towards Waiting for You. We started writing a bunch of songs, and I think that was the first one that we were like, this feels exactly like who we want to be and who we are right now, and we want people to hear this song. So we worked really hard on that. That just came out on the 26th of May. It has now been our most successful single in terms of streams and engagement that we've actually ever had, which is a nice feeling to come back and see that people are kind of resonating with the music. Because, I think a lot of people see like this band's put a single out, but if you're not a musician or someone that's not involved in that scene, I don't think you can really appreciate the amount of effort and time that gets spent before that gets put out to the public. So to get that back was just, I think, like Jamie would agree, it was very rewarding. And just the feel across all five of us right now is just, I think everyone's living on a bit of a high. Can't wait to release more music and get out. So that's Waiting for You. Can't really think of anything else to say on terms of like the lead up and kind of how it's went. But yeah, that's Waiting for You, our brand new single.
Okay, now I know I saw a video, so a lot went not only into the song, the music, obviously this probably the studio, the recording, the mastering, mixing, everything, right? But the video, that's another thing. So back up a second though. Tell me about your band members. So who's in the band and what do they do?
So we have obviously.
Yeah.
On you go, Jamie. On you go. You take this one.
Oh, sorry, man. So yeah, there's five of us, which is a big evolution for us because we've only ever really been a four-piece. So there's me, I play keys and sort of electronic elements. Darren, who plays guitar, and he's the main vocalist. And then we've got Ross, who plays bass and does some like backup vocals and things. We got Inacio, who is this young pup who's on guitar, and he's just like the most crazy, ambitious, excitable young pup you'll ever meet in your life. And then we've got Evan, who plays drums. So when we got back together, we were trying out members and things, and Inacio joined because Darren met him at college when he was doing the final bits of his degree this year or last year. And we're like, right, we need another member. So we're like trying out a drummer, and Ross came in and he absolutely smashed it. We're like, oh, the chemistry is really good. But Evan had also messaged us to say, I'd like to try out. And we were like, oh no, what do we do here? So like, right, we'll try Evan out. We made it clear to Ross that we were going to try Evan out, and he was really cool with it. But me and Darren went away, and I was like, right, the chemistry with Ross is so good. Like, it just felt right. He came in, it was like we'd known him for years. He's too good not to be in the band. So I was like, let's message him and see if he plays any other instruments, and we'll move some things around if Evan works. Evan came in the next week. Ross came and jammed. He played the bass. I moved to keys, and it just clicked. So it was like, okay, well, let's be a 5-piece. Let's just have these two new guys that have both tried out for the same instrument, and let's just make it work.
Nice. So you could do some drum duels and, different switch. Anyway, okay, no, we're not there yet. We're not there. So, okay, so now we know the band, a 5-piece. The band is called Copper Lungs, and I love your logo, by the way. That's one thing, listeners. Go check out their social presence. They're out there everywhere. You can find the newest video on YouTube. The official video waiting for you is there. You can listen to the songs. How do you think listeners should engage with you right now? Do you have a way? Are you playing out right now?
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I guess we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. All our songs are on all the major streaming platforms. We've got our YouTube. So as you say, like, the social presence is there, and we're growing that right now. Coming back, a lot of our pages were kind of a bit dormant because obviously we weren't together and doing everything. So we put a lot of time into them. We are playing our first show. Before I get to the show, I guess before we took a lot of pride in our live performance back when we were together before. So we chose to we don't want to take shows too early. We wanted to make sure with the 5 members, the lineup, the new kind of musical direction, that everything felt completely, we want to come away from a show and have that feeling that, one, we've done ourselves proud, we've delivered, and hopefully everyone else can feel the same way and be kind of part of the community of Copper Lungs. So we are back this Saturday, actually. So the 17th, we have a show in Perth, which is just up the road from Dundee. And then we're also playing Edinburgh on Monday, and that is our first 2 shows back. And we have a bunch of shows at the end of the year, but you can see everything we're doing on our social pages. So if anyone from Scotland or England is listening to this, go check that out, and hopefully we can see them at a show.
Yeah, definitely. So listeners, you've got the upcoming show in Perth and Edinburgh. Check them out online. So let's talk a minute. Let's go back. What do you think makes Copper Lungs resilient?
Jimmy?
Yeah, I think, I touched on this earlier when we went back into the rehearsal space, and it just felt right. I think we've always had that strong sort of bond between, especially me and Darren, and that's shown now with the new lineup, that it just clicked so easily. Like, these 3 other guys that never really met us before came into this practice room, and it just felt right. So I think the resilience comes from the bond that we share, our love for music and sort of shared experiences. The other guys have all been in their local music scenes as well. So we've all grown up with music, and we know the sort of ins and outs and the troubles that you can get into by being a musician. So, I think, the common bond is there. So I think that's where the resilience comes. We're always there for each other as well. We talk every day. If someone's having a bad day, then, we'll be sure to help them pick them back up and things. So, it's more like a family than a band, I would say.
Yeah. Now, I know band members sometimes disagree whether for a style or a song or what part should be, where. And, it's interesting because I guess with you guys having that bond, having started out early and then, gone on with your lives, regular life, and now to come back together and have that shared goal of making music that is, emotional. Like, so you talk, right? So that's huge, right? Some of the things that people in all walks of life need to know, that communication is still so important today, even despite the separation between, physical interaction, right? The stemming from the COVID all the way to the increase in social, media and being everything on the screens. it's still so important. So it's wonderful to hear that you guys talk every day, and it sounds like you pride yourselves in having that connection to keep it flowing smoothly. Sometimes, especially when you need that as a band, right? You need to keep that when you disagree. Have you had any disagreements yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think they happen, don't they? I think we've got I think especially coming back this time, we learned a lot. Before, like, see, when we were younger, it was just fueled by like pure impulsiveness and excitement. Where like we still have that excitement and passion, but like we're a wee bit older now. I think we've lived through that. We've played with different people, and coming back, I think we're very open to. We have this thing in the band room. So if we're writing a song, for instance, regardless of how much you want a certain piece to be there, if someone comes up with an idea, we try everything. We try everything. We have this open way of communicating. And I think that when you're in a band, especially with this band, we want to be the best version of ourselves. And I think that will come from having input from everyone. We want everyone's personality to come through the songs. We want everyone's creativeness to be part of the songs. And I think I wouldn't say we've had any bust ups or anything. We have a lot. There's a lot of financial decisions to make, marketing decisions and stuff. But I think me and Jamie talk all day, every day, and Jamie's very clued up in the music business side of the world. And I think that respect kind of goes 5 ways between everyone. So I think we're quite lucky. Ask us again in 5 years and see what the answer would be. Yeah, no, I think we're pretty cool with each other, respectful, and I think there's never really anything too bad, is there?
No.
Nice. So, and I was going to ask you about your creative process, right? So now you've already kind of answered that, at least partially. So you said that you want to bring realism into your music, things that people can relate to, and that's of course what makes music great, I think. Tell us about that creative process. I know having new people in the band, you may still be evolving that. You might have a number one hit songwriter in your group and you don't even know it.
Maybe. Yeah, Darren, do you want to take this, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I could probably take this one. Yeah, so I think the creative process is something that is always developing, and I feel like no matter who you are, it should constantly and continuously always develop, regardless of where you are in your kind of journey in music. But the way that things normally work right now, just to touch on it, I've went through a lot of personal things in my life over the last few years that was kind of at the core of the new music. It was like, we want to deliver this message. I would quite like a place to speak and share those stories with people, because I know that I'm not the only one that's went through loss and anxiety and COVID and stuff. So I would normally kind of come up with a base idea, and then we share it with the band, and then we just go through sending stuff back and forward. Obviously, with technology nowadays, everyone can record parts, send it back and forward. We're all pretty versed in like digital audio workstations and stuff. So yeah, I guess our creative process is come up with the idea. I've normally got a story I want to tell in that song, and then we try and make the song around that feel. So if it's a sad song, we maybe try and have a more sad sounding song, but we want everything to be powerful. And then the five of us just kind of hash it out, break it down. And we'd really have taken our time with the songs this time, which I think is something that we didn't do before. It was very much, oh, the song just sounds great the way it is. Now it's like, well, what could we do better, and how can we change this just to make sure that it is the best version of the song that we're putting out? So I would say it's pretty creatively open, but that's normally how it goes.
Yeah, Jamie, did you have something to add to that?
No, I think Darren, I was just agreeing. He's pretty much hit the nail on the head. Usually we'll finish a song and then I'll try and be smart about it and add an extra bit or change something. So, that's usually where it goes for the next hour.
Okay, wonderful. So now, all right. So, Darren, you had said about the feelings of grief and anxiety. So, would you be open to sharing a little bit of your story?
Yeah, my partner recently lost her dad a couple of years ago. So, I think with that, it wasn't necessarily a direct family loss to me, but just the impact that had on my relationship and learning kind of like who to how do I be there for her? At the time, we weren't playing together, so I had no real outlet for talking about that other than just talking about it out loud, which might sound a bit weird, but like when I can write about it in a song, sometimes it feels safer to communicate it that way, and you can just be really honest with it. So yeah, just living with like kind of that grief with someone that you care about a lot, you know, and it's just my way of telling those stories, and hopefully, you know, always keeping that memory. Like a lot of the, like if you kind of stick with the band, you'll hear lines in the song, and if you listen to this interview, you'll know straight away exactly what I'm talking about, because it's in everything that we're writing about. There's a lot of lines about that, and just even little things that my partner, that she said to me, you know, there's certain phrases that have maybe come up and they're actually in the song, which is, you know, really nice for me to be able to kind of say, you know, it's an open book. It literally is an open book, and it's a way for me to express the way that I feel about it. And, you know, hopefully she can listen to the songs as well, and take something from it. So I think that's kind of the core thing that I've been writing about just now. So yeah, and to touch on Waiting for You as well, if that's cool. That was kind of that, because it was the first one. I think I wasn't maybe completely ready to talk about that yet in the song. So the first one was very much about a day that I had with my partner. There's a place called Loch Earn in Scotland. That's like our favorite place to go. And obviously during COVID, we weren't allowed to go around Scotland. If you've ever been to Scotland, it's beautiful. We all like being out in the countryside and the hill walks. So not getting to basically leave your immediate area, never mind not go up the mountains, be out in the open, where, you know, I feel like everybody could probably agree that no matter where you are in the world, if you go out into the countryside, you go do your hill walks, whatever, you come back and you just have a sense of calmness. I think that's what gives that to you. So yeah, Waiting for You was definitely about not being able to have that, and I was going a bit crazy, getting cabin fever, I think. So I wrote that song about that day that I had, in the hopes that it would get me through COVID, which it definitely did, because we're out of it now. So
Nice. Now, Jamie, what is that single "Waiting for You"? How do you relate to that?
I mean, when Darren first let me know about how, like, the premise of the song and things, like, it was easy to relate to it, because, you know, we'd gone through some things as well. Like, I think unfortunately during COVID, everyone at some point probably you speak to has suffered a loss, and I know my partner also lost her stepfather. So, you know, like, when Darren told me about it, like, it automatically hit home for me, and it was resonating so much. And we're the same here. Like, we like to be out and about in the country, and, you know, we've got beautiful landscapes and things. So everything he was telling me the song was about, and when I listened back, it just resonated so well that I was just like, okay, well, lyrically, we're not touching this. This is your story. This is how it's going to be. And yeah, it just worked like that. I just believe that, you know, everything he's written so far is come from his heart. So lyric wise, we don't really touch that. That's his baby. It's his story, and all the other four of us are just willing to let him tell that. You know.
Nice. So people can relate to this emotional single, Waiting for You. You can listen online. You can watch the video. Now, that video, when was that shot? I mean, you guys looked cold out there. I don't know how you bounced. It looked as though you were bouncing around on these rocks, you know, about to fall into the sea with such ease, like you would normally perform on a stage. Like, how did you do that?
Well, first of all, it was absolutely freezing. We had this, like, a specific amount of time that we could film this video, to get the videographer and to get all of us in one place. I think we had one weekend that we could make it work before the single came out. So we had to just go with this one day, and we're praying for weather. Luckily, it didn't rain until the end of the day. And then we had to find a spot. The videographer had this. He was like, right, let's go to this place called Arbroath, which, luckily enough, that's where Evan's from. It's where I grew up. So we're on these cliffs. Had to take all the gear up there, lug it all up. And then for the first hour, it was all right, you know, because we were in that sort of, oh, we're filming a video. This is such a beautiful area. And then Stuart, our videographer, was like, okay, let's go again. And then the hands were going blue and the waves were coming up higher. And yeah, I mean, visually it looks amazing, so there's no regrets. But yeah, we were all cold that day for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Darren, anything to add?
Maybe not too much now. It was just, I think, the things that I was talking about with like the countryside in Scotland and just like who we are. I think that visually it tied in great. But yeah, it was a very, very cold day. But I think when we saw it back, you kind of forget about those feelings. As you said, you were standing in the corner before your take, rubbing your hands together, trying to warm up a wee bit. But no, it was a great day. It was a great day.
Awesome. Well, that just shows how resilient you are as well. You have, setting those goals and making them happen. Like that's, what people often have to do, and artists especially. So let me segue into your online presence. Is there one or more of you who have that charge? Because I want to ask about your logo. How did you come up with the band name and the logo? And what's happening now with the online presence, because a band has to be not only musically talented and assertive to put themselves out there, but you have to be a marketer, a salesman. You have to do all this stuff in order to stay relevant in the world today. Let's talk about those things if we could.
Yeah, in terms of the band name, that was Darren's baby. He had that name when I'd met him and started the band back in forever ago. The logo came about just before our second EP came out, and it was a guy, Tyrone from Edinburgh. He did a load of designs for us and stuff, and that one just really stood out. We just thought like the symmetry in it and everything just really eye catching. We've changed the way that the lettering and the font works since we've come back, just to make it a little bit more bold. So yeah, that all worked there. And social media, yeah, I'll go. It's fine. I mean, we all have a part in it. Darren looks after the Instagram and the Facebook mostly. He's deep diving, researching all that sort of stuff every day. When it comes to that side, I am not particularly well inclined. I don't do well with technology really. And then we let Inacio, as I say, he's the young pup of the band, so he's got this real TikTok mind about him. So we're trying to let him have that and that responsibility, and I think it's been really good for him because he's the youngster. So giving him that area just to focus on gives him that sort of feeling that he's really able to take charge of it and have his input. And to be honest, he's come up with these ideas that me or Darren or Ross or Eben probably never thought about. Some crazy little videos that I actually saw one the other day when I was doom scrolling TikTok, and I laughed at it. I didn't realize it was us that posted it. So it's doing something right.
Yeah. It does, because there's so many different things, different methodologies, and it's interesting. Like I think I've gotten the Instagram down, and the TikTok is another thing. But then just when I want to do something, I'll see something evolving where the reels are involving all these things and the words, and I don't know. But it's a lot. So it's nice though. It's nice that you guys have that split up and to reach the different audiences. Who would you say is the prime audience of your music?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I guess with kind of all the way that the social media is working, that obviously you get access to a lot of the data of like who's viewing your pages and things like that. But like ideally, I think when we came back, we were like, we're a bit older, so maybe our audience will be a bit older. But we're really finding that anywhere from like 18 to mid 40s, it's a really vast spread, male, female. Everybody's wanting to like kind of engage with the music, which is great. Because I think it would be your kind of worst nightmare as a musician if you had like one person. We have one person that will like our music. I think to be able to share those stories with multiple people, and I guess that comes down that people are similar. We go through similar things regardless of who we are, where we're from. So yeah, I would say anybody that likes catchy, easy listening music, or has maybe suffered some of the same issues that we've went through in our life. I think that's kind of who our demographic could be, you know?
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. So you had like hundreds of hits on that video. I know that first came out when it first came out, and it's true that when you think of a song that you love or that you want to turn on when you're feeling a certain feeling, it's true that that's why that's why the hits become hits, right? Because people can relate to them. So what else, guys? What's next? Do you have the next single ready that what is coming out next?
Yeah. So we know what the next single is. We've decided that for the first couple of songs and things that we're going to do back, we're going to do it all ourselves before it gets to mixing and mastering. So we're recording everything. So that starts on Thursday. We should have it finished hopefully middle of next week. See how time frames go and with the shows and stuff. And then it'll go away to our guy who mixes it, and then down south to master. So it is in the works. It's not finished yet. But hopefully the last week of July, first week of August, we're aiming for to get the next one out.
Nice. And what is the title? Did I miss it?
What's the title, Dan?
Free World.
Or does it not have a title?
Oh yeah, we could say it's called Free World. And that song is was written about kind of like the topic of kind of like, we call it like winter depression here, because Scotland is very doom and gloom from September till March. And I like the sun, I like being out in the country, and just that was kind of the main kind of topic behind that. But I won't give away too much on that, because we'll leave that one for the single. But yeah, that's the next one, Free World.
Wow, I love that. Here in New Jersey, we have that winter depression too. Let me tell you what, we had some change in weather this week. I was at the beach yesterday, and I won't tell you how rewarding that was. It was like somehow it makes all those feelings of the cold and the early days and the dark, and just it totally makes. So again, I love that idea. Can't wait for that one to come out. So guys, let me ask you, if you had any advice to give, right, maybe to your younger selves or to other artists out there, what might you advise them? And if you want to each take a shot at it, that would be great.
Geez, I think just never give up. You might never be the Bruce Springsteen of the world, but as long as that you're still out there having fun with your friends and enjoying what you're doing, then it's worthwhile. So don't give up at the first hurdle. For the best part, music's hard. Being in a band is hard. There's lots of things to take into account, lots of personalities to take into account, lots of hurdles you need to overcome. But when you get on a stage, and there's people there that have come to see you, or you see the numbers go up and people start commenting about how they like the song and stuff, it's really rewarding. So yeah, just don't give up at the first hurdle, and just keep going, because sometimes dreams do come true, and you're not going to know that if you give up straight away.
Yeah, that's a great thing, because we all have that self-criticism, right? Those thoughts that, you immediately go to, and unless you're aware of it, even the comments online, if someone posts some negative comment, just, it's important for people not to give into that, and, to stay focused and I always tell people to take those small steps to get to, the larger goal, so, again, like you guys took your band, your idea, and you realized you needed it to change. So you were open to change, willing to see what would happen. And, and that I think plays into that, what you said, Jamie, too, about never giving up, don't give up at the first hurdle, to be, be steadfast and be confident, be strong, right? That's something that is super important, especially for musicians. How about you, Darren? What do you have anything to offer to that younger
Yes.
musicians?
Yeah, definitely. So I think like I agree with everything that Jamie said. I would also say just, be true to who you are, be authentic. I think that's one of the main ones. I think nowadays it's easy to try and follow trends. It's such a big thing now, but I think if you're kind of authentic and you sing about or talk about things that are happening to you, the chances are there's a lot of other people out there in the world that are going through the same things, and that's where you're going to gain long-term fans and appreciation for your music. Is just being completely transparent, open, authentic. Play that long game. It doesn't happen. It won't happen overnight. But I think if you can be happy with who you are and what you're talking about, I think people see that authenticity, and I think that is really one of the keys. So yeah, don't give up and just be true, be authentic, be who you are, and let that come through in your music. That would probably be my advice to my younger self. Don't be scared to talk about things that make you feel a little uncomfortable, because people see that realness, people hear that realness, and I think that's where you can get special connections to your music.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's not easy to be vulnerable. Again, kudos to you guys for putting that out there, that emotional tone. And I think that, I've said it before, I think I said it even here, that emotional connection is what's going to rise your music to the next level. People are going to share that. Hey, have you heard this? Have you heard that? From the beginning of time, have you heard this song? And they'll pass that on. So that's a wonderful thing to talk about as well. What else, guys? Do you have anything else before we close? Anything else you'd like to tell our listeners about copper lungs or about resilience?
I think I'm quite happy with kind of what we've covered. I think if we can just continue to follow all these points that we've raised today, be true, be authentic. Hopefully that comes across in our music, and hopefully people can really relate to that, and hopefully they can take something from it other than that's just a good song. I think that's what we want Copper Lungs to be, especially now as we're older, rather than just let's just write music. It's like, no, let's try and create something here that is going to positively affect other people when they listen to our music. So I think that's, yeah, just to retouch on that, I think that's pretty much all I would really say. I don't know if Jamie's got anything else that he wants to add.
Yeah, I mean, you've pretty much nailed it there, Darren, but I think we're in a society itself now is so focused. You can reach anything from the palm of your hand, and I think there's so much in the palm of your hand that don't be scared to be uncool, because there's going to be some people out there that think you are cool. There's going to be some people that think you're uncool every time. So, building that personal resilience to just be true to yourself, not worry what others think, and do what makes you happy will, in the end, be what's best. Because there's always going to be someone out there with a negative comment. There's always going to be someone out there who's willing to put you down. So, haters will hate. So, bye.
Yeah, that's right. Haters beware. Well, and I have to bring this up. You touched on such a good point. I put a book out there, a self-help book, a year ago, and it's called Emotional Strength Explained. And it's helped people who want to make that next step or make a change in their life, and it helps them to be stronger emotionally. After using it for 30 days, they're able to, become stronger and get to that next step or next goal, right? So if there's a musician out there and you're not sure what the next step is, if you've had failed band relationships and you crashed and burned, you want to step into something new and you're not sure what to do, pick up my book. It can help you with that. And as well for younger kids, I have a book that my daughter and I put out. It's called Fun Book, kids ages 5 to 7. And it's like a diary, but more fun. And caregivers can work with them, as some of them, won't be able to read yet, but it gives them an opportunity to learn about their behaviors, learn what it is to be a better friend, and help them to understand how to deal with emotional responses to help with behavior and things. So this is a big passion of mine. I have another book coming out. It's a Power Your Life book. And again, I just really feel like this topic can help everybody in their walk of life, whether you're a musician with such tough competition or, really in any role, because as a father, as a partner, as a cousin, friend, whatever you are, there's always changes that you have to be willing to make in order to land at that authentic self and who you truly are. And it's not easy, right? With all the inputs that we're receiving. I just, guys, I'm so inspired to hear that your band has such a good relationship, and the ways that you maintain that is by talking to one another and being, putting fairness up there and it's just such a good, I'm motivated by this. I'm motivated, right? We know a lot of the other bands that we hear out there and music that reaches international levels. I love hearing the stories and how they come to life. So, Jamie, Darren, let me know, okay, when you have your next, whether you are going to be touring and you want to publicize that. Let me know when you have a new EP coming out. I'm definitely glad to have you guys on again. Maybe meet the other band members as well. That would be great.
You need a long time to have Vanassi on.
Yeah, we definitely need to get the young pup. That's what we call him, because he's about 7 years younger than us all. But he's so full of life, and I'm sure we'll be able to share those experiences with him as we watch him grow up. He'll hate that I said that, but
yeah, right. Well, it's funny, and I have to mention my husband's band. They were like, I don't know, 12, 13 members with horns, and they had male and female singers, like huge ongoing. And all of a sudden the drummer was leaving and the guitarist was leaving and everything was changing, and they got a young pup, as you mentioned, to play guitar. And here it was, these older guys, and then you have this guy, and he's like with the muscles and the guitar. And now all of a sudden, not only the rest of us who would come to see them, but now you have these young girls showing up. So it was amazing to see how the dynamic changed, when you had the different members in the band. But it's interesting. So good. I wish you all good luck with that. And yeah, definitely bring them on, and we'll look forward to having them. And we'll look forward to seeing you. Best of luck in your upcoming shows. Listeners, reach out to them. You can find them on Instagram, YouTube. This is Scottish indie rock group Copper Lungs with their new emotional single, Waiting for You. Thank you guys again. This has been Alicia Pozsony with Resilient You on Power 98.5. When the fire burns